Jessica, we are back. We took a little bit of a sabbatical, and that was kind of nice. We took a little break between season 4 and 5. Not like we took a break doing nothing. We're on the sipping coconut drinks, with straws in the Bahamas. We had other stuff to do, suicide prevention related, and I'd like to hear, Jessica, what you've been doing in about the 4 or 5 weeks that we took off. What have you been doing?
Working hard.
And that's our show, folks. Jessica's been working. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's a tough subject because it is a tough subject.
That is true. I've been working hard. I haven't been doing the things you've been doing, Dennis, because you have put South Carolina on the map with a special program. I was scrolling through Facebook, doing the death scroll, and I was like, hey, that's my friend Dennis. That's my podcast co-host. And so I'm excited for you to tell everybody what you've done.
We've done a lot of cool things, and one of them was, it took a lot of work. We did this thing called LAW teams. Now, LAW stands for Local Outreach to Survivors of Suicide. And what we're trying to do and set up in South Carolina, and we succeeded. We are now the 25th state to have this. So 24 states had it, now 25 with South Carolina. We're working with a local coroner in Pickens County that if someone dies by suicide, here's how it works. The work we do in suicide prevention is awesome because the person's still here. Prevention, perfect. They're still in the room. Intervention, really good. It gets a little rough, but the person's still here. We have a shot. You know what I'm saying? Prevention, intervention, still with us. The hardest part of all of this is the third one is called postvention. We lost somebody. Ugh, tough.
Yes.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we have trained volunteers and we're going to go visit the family of a recently bereaved loss, whoever's behind the decedent, the family, and we'll stop by the house, give them resources. We have packets over there. I've been filling packets, making connections, and we will help those folks. The studies show, and this is from my loss consultant, that people wait about 4.5 years to go get help. And remember, I lost 2 brothers to suicide. After Mark died, my older brother, we didn't know what to do. Had no idea what to do. And I truly believe it cost us Matthew because we didn't seek help. We didn't go to the right places. We didn't get in touch with a therapist and all that good stuff. So that's what I've been working on that. I made the local news. We put out a press release. Like 3 stations did a story on it. One of them we got bumped because of World Cup soccer.
So much more important, right? So much more important.
Yeah, exactly. They're not saying.
Although I will say that you may think that because when I called you this afternoon, you were watching soccer. So.
Oh, I got totally into it. I'm not even a soccer fan. I just love stuff that unites people.
Yeah, I agree.
And for some reason, we united around this thing. It's a sport I really don't like. I used to tell my in-laws, they're a big soccer family. I'll go to a soccer match whether I need a nap or not. But I'm so into this now. It sucked me in. And today was a semifinal, England, Argentina, great match. They've all been great matches, except for the big clunker that the USA, when they lost 4-1, when they advanced, I forgot who they played. But they laid an egg.
Heartbreak.
It was awful. And, well, that happened. I think it was Belgium. They laid a big goose egg. But you know what? 30 million people watched it, and I was one of them. So there are other matches, and it was good. But again, back to the mental health aspect of it. The fans are united. People are having a good time. The fans are actually having a fun time with each other. It's a friendly, in the beginning at least, it was friendly rivalries. I saw like the Argentinian fans were, hoisting up this Korean guy. It was hilarious. Or Japanese guy. It was fun to watch. They were just surrounding him with love, and it was uniting us. And for a moment, I got to forget about all the stuff we deal with on a daily basis. It's an escape, and it's a positive escape, in my humble opinion. Have you caught any of the games?
I did. Yeah. So, okay, here's the dude thing. My husband's like this. They just like the sport. I have to like a team. I have to be bought in to whatever, my Gamecocks. I'm a University of South Carolina, huge Gamecock fan. I will watch all their sporting events and maybe some of those other orange people just because they're in South Carolina, not pulling for them because I want to see them lose. But other than that, got to have a connection with the team. I'm not just watching for the sport.
No, I can watch 2 teams. Like today, England played Argentina. I don't have any skin in that game. It was just a fun game to watch.
Sounds like a snoozer to me.
No, no, it wasn't. It was, and again, what it was, because earlier today, we were doing all this suicide prevention work. I
Yeah.
was interviewing volunteers. They were telling me their story of loss. Heavy, heavy stuff building this
Mhm.
loss team because people are I feel like sometimes with these folks where I'm picking wounds with them. I said, "Well, did you have a loss?" Because ideally, a person who's on our team for the loss team would be someone who survived a loss, like you and I. It would be ideal because you could walk in their shoes. It doesn't have to be a prerequisite to join in. You could be a compassionate human being, and we'll take you. But it would be nice, and on the team, there's 2 people that go, one of them should have some kind of
Yeah,
experience with a loss. And
absolutely.
ideally, one day know where to need us. But this is kind of good news. Since we started this program July 1, we're 2 weeks into it. The coroner of this county has told us they have not had a suicide yet, which is really good. Because
Yes.
which normally they average at 1 or 2 a month, like really good. So we're like, okay, hope you never need us.
So let me
Right.
ask you. So I've got two questions. I have two questions, but I want to make sure that I talk about something before we go along these lines of getting help afterwards. But two things I want to ask you. I'm just curious. Number one, I was thinking when I found out about this program, I was reflecting. I was like, how would I feel? How would it have impacted me and my family? Because you lost your brothers. I lost my dad, almost lost my other brother, my brother. And I think to your point earlier, we didn't get help fast enough. There wasn't, it was just, it's so traumatic, especially he was 12 years old. So already a bad time, but I just was reflecting on how would that have impacted me and my family if someone had come, because in 92, there's a lot of shame. I think there still is, but it's different now. I'd like to think. Did you
I'd
think
like
about
to
that?
Oh, I absolutely thought about it, and, we haven't made a call yet. We're ready to go, and, I'm thinking there may be houses where we get thrown right out the door.
Yeah,
I'm ready for that. But
yeah.
we have these packets of information with us. We'll leave this with you because there's a fog, and I know, and anyone who lost any traumatic event, any premature loss due to anything. Ours happens to be suicide, but someone dies way before they should, um, and it's traumatic. There's a fog that comes with it. So our goal on the loss teams would be one to touch them, drop off some stuff, and then there's a
Mm.
follow up call later when the fog is somewhat not as thick as it is, in the moment.
Mhm.
There are
Mhm.
some teams that we opted not to do this, and the loss community is really cool, but there are some teams that do a, on-site. That is the night of, like, if you get a call from the
What's
coroner.
yours? I thought that's what you were doing. What's yours?
Ours is called the delayed response. What the coroner
Okay.
will do is they'll clean up the site, whatever they'll do,
Yeah.
and then they'll notify us, and somewhere between the occurrence, the sad death, and the funeral will come into the family when they're at the house.
Okay. Yeah.
Aspirational goal, one day we'll be on site. That's an aspirational goal, but, a lot of the folks we pitch it to said, it's a little chaotic. Law enforcement's there, the fire truck, the lights, then you guys, and like, eh. So I got it. So we said, "All right, what would you do?" They said, "Here's how we wanna do it. We wanna,
So the
come."
coroner's office told you that.
Yeah, yeah, they told
Okay.
and I said, "Listen, we're at your mercy. This is your cat. Still smoking? That's good."
I am not a smoker. I'm going to put that out there. Do
Yeah,
not put that out there about me. I run a public health association. The worst thing you can do for yourself.
exactly. It's
Well, I'm glad you said that
so that's what we're
because
doing.
I agree. I don't know. I guess I would. I don't really remember like right after. I remember a couple of like really specific things. But I don't I intuitively feel like it would have been weird, but I don't know.
Here's the deal, it's gonna be weird for everybody, including us walking in there. It's gonna be weird.
Mhm.
Obviously, we're going into a dark spot. But here's the key. Studies have shown that people wait 4.5 years after the loss of a loved one to go get help. We wanna cut that time in half, or 4.5 minutes, or 4.5 days. We gotta just steer them to professionals. We're not professionals. Listen, you're gonna need therapy. You may wanna lay off the substances. It's a rough time. We're not gonna sugarcoat it. It absolutely sucks, right? We're in a nice way. I won't say it like that, but we're just gonna be, like, dead on, like, "This we've been there. And I imagine there goes some resistance. Oh, you don't know what we're going through. And I go, sort of do. And then, I'm not there to tell them my story. I'm not there to trauma dump.
Mhm.
Oh, you think you got it bad? You should have seen what happened to me. No, we're there to help them. And the only thing about our losses is it adds street cred to what we're saying and how to get help. We're just trying to point them in the right direction. Yeah, we might get met at the door. Thanks, but no thanks. Got it. Here's
Mhm.
a packet. No, you can keep it. Okay. We tried. We
Mhm.
tried. But then there may be other people, and this is what I heard from other lost teams. You get invited in and you sit in silence. You don't have to talk that much. It's called the ministry of presence. You just have to be there. And I imagine a lot of that, just sitting quietly. And I have to train my volunteers that silence is okay. Like
It's 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 yeah, you don't
we don't have to
I
fill it.
remember and honestly, now I'm thinking about it, thank God if y'all did do that because I do remember now I'm sitting here thinking about it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, the memory of it, that, that night and all
Yeah.
the things that follow. But, that's seared into someone's mind. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But, I do remember people coming in and you think in your mind, like, they're just carrying on, like, let me grab the casserole and let's do this. And you're over here, like you said, in that fog. I would have rather them just shut up. You know what I mean? And like, quit. Your life is being normal right now. Mine, there's no normal. So I think I remember at 18 years old being irritated by the fact that people's lives were carrying on. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
somebody was talking about a glaucoma surgery. I remember that because it was my father's biological mother that's, in my opinion, part of the reason why he took his life. But that's another day for another story. But I remember being angry that people were talking about normal things. And I just wanted
Yeah,
them
and
to
I
be
get that
quiet,
too.
you
I
know?
remember thinking that long after my brothers died. I went back to work and I saw people laughing, and I remember going, "Don't they know what I'm going through? Like,
Yeah.
don't they know I'm dying right here? And you're laughing over there." Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But we'll see how it goes. Lost teams, we're not the first, and I got an army of people behind me. Tennessee has been really helpful. Those folks, I call them up. There's a consultant in Ohio who's super sweet. And I told her, bill me. I've had her on the phone for like hours. She goes, no, no, I want you to get. I said, send a bill. We could pay for it a little bit. What the heck? No, no, no. I'm glad to help. That's how these people are.
It's hard to bill for things like that.
Well,
It's
she
more of
could
a,
have.
a passion. I know.
But when the
I'm a
person
consultant.
says, send me a
I
bill.
would bill you. I would bill you.
Exactly, the person that sent me a bill, you go, "Okay." Yeah, because that's what she does, so they've been an awesome community behind us and helping us, and there's a website where we go to and we get download forms. We got a lot to offer, and then, if they read it, great. If they chuck it in the bin, so be it.
I'm so
But
proud of you.
yeah, and then
It's
we're
all
set up a lost meeting in, Pickens. That's the next thing because we want place for people to go. Like, I run a lost meeting for survivors of suicide loss it's this week, it's every third Thursday of the month in Greenville, and we want to set it up in every county so people have a place to go with others because it's a complicated grief.
It's a
And
complicated grief. It's a long grief.
yeah,
I,
it's a long one. I'm one of my gosh, this week will mark 32 years without my little brother.
mm,
I know, and if you're watching this on YouTube, I know I look 34. Thank you very much. No, but yeah, I was 30 years old when Matt died. I
my
do the
dad
math.
will. His birthday's next week. I remember us having some. I
Yeah.
think my dad's death anniversary, and your brother's is right. Isn't that weird? Is right near the same time, and then my dad's
Where's when did your dad die?
October 19th,
Yeah, my brother was
1992.
October 26th. Yeah.
Yes, I remember his time, and
83.
then his birthday is
July.
July the 21st, and he would be 76 years old.
Oh, Matt's birthday's coming up August 8th. It's a Saturday, and there's a mental health fair I gotta go to on his birthday, and he would be 52 years old.
Wow,
But
he's my age.
he's
Really,
that
I
young.
didn't know
He's
that.
that young, people. He's
So
that young.
young, so young. So I want to
Nice.
talk to you about something. So we were talking about. I just said it was a complicated, long grief. Also, things trigger it. So you asked me what I did while we were separated. Not really. We're not
Sabbatical.
married, but yeah, sabbatical. And something did happen, and I didn't think about it, but I thought about it just now when you were talking about the loss, and when I started like jogging my brain back. But and I feel like I need to say this. If my mom hears this, I mean, I love her to death, but she did something that triggered me.
Okay.
And I just feel like I need to talk about it. And it triggered me to the point of where I shared it with a friend, and it was just very weird. But we were sitting in a restaurant about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was me, my mom, my stepdad, my husband, and my sister and her husband. They're down
Okay.
at the end of the table talking. I'm right here with my mom. And she talks about my dad a lot, which I think is interesting. I mean, she loved him, and,
Well,
my
yeah.
stepdad's wonderful.
Had
He
kids
does
with
this.
them.
Yeah, I mean, three.
3.
And so, and she's really, there's just a lot going on right now with,
Yeah.
things come up. Anyway, she starts to go through a story about finding my father
Oh.
and what they found and what they said when they found him. And I'm like, I was just sitting there like, stop.
Nah, stop. Please stop.
And I looked at my sister and she wasn't listening. And I think my stepdad saw my face, but nobody said anything. And it just kept going and going. And now I have to, like you said, I am what, 34 years out? And it honestly, I couldn't get it out of my head. It traumatized me a
Yeah.
little bit.
You're such a kind Southern belle, a New Yorker. That's what I'm from, New York. I would have said, Ma, stop right now, stop. I don't want to hear it. You get, we could yell like that, and we still love each other. I would have said, no,
I
no,
think I
no.
was in shock.
I would have put my hand up. No, no, no. Stop right there. Stop right there. Pass the butter. I don't want to hear it.
But I
And
was in shock. And
I
here's
bet.
the thing. Here's the thing. It's not just my loss. It's her loss too.
I
It's my
know. And she wants to
sister's
talk about,
loss. Right. So who am I to say you can't say? I mean, she works with the man that found my father with her.
ooh,
And she said, and God bless her, I really do hope she didn't listen. And she said, yeah, Ken and I laughed because when the police got there, they were questioning me. And I guess it looked really weird that we were together and he was our minister. He just happened to be our next door neighbor. And I'm just sitting here like, what the hell is happening right now? Why are we talking about this? Why are you saying laugh? I was my face and nobody was looking at me. Nothing came out of my mouth. And I couldn't get it out of my mind. Even
yeah.
talking about it last week. And that was two,
Last
three
week,
weeks ago.
30 years later, and it's still 2 weeks. Yeah, I know that's the long-term complicated grief that you referenced. It's
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
It's there, and it flared up. It just flared up, and then thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Thank
I haven't flared like that in a while. And plus, I heard something I didn't want to hear. I never heard. And all I could say in my mind was, damn, I wish you never said that. I wish you
Yeah.
had never said that. You know?
That's so weird you had that situation at a restaurant, because I had my sister in town last weekend, and I hoped and prayed we didn't get on the topic because I just wanted to enjoy the weekend. I had my boys in town, but you never know. It could come up at any
Yeah.
moment. We were
Yeah.
all impacted, and anybody could say anything. I just wasn't in the mood. I guess I'm a guy. I'm never in the mood to talk about it.
Bull.
I
You
know.
do a podcast and you've dedicated your career to that.
Exactly. Well,
But maybe you don't want to do it because you do that. You know what
I
I
don't want to
mean?
do it on weekends. No,
Right,
no,
right.
I know. It's like, it's weird. I want to dictate the terms, and that's, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I want to broach a subject the way I want to broach it. I don't want to get a hit over the head with it. So we had a good weekend, so it didn't happen. So, whew, I'm sorry you had to go through that. It's how it works. It's a tough subject, to say the least, right?
Yeah. I felt like I didn't want to hurt my mom's feelings because I feel like she spends a lot of time, and it's nothing against my stepfather, talking about, well, when Jim did this and Jim did that. And, my sister just got a huge promotion, and she's just a super
Nice.
amazing human being because I know where she came from too. A teenage
Yeah.
mom, dropped out of high school.
The
I just
trauma
got to
of the
say
dad.
this. My sister is younger than me, and she is like a boss at one of the biggest health systems in our state. Like, she's over a lot of people. No college. They grandfather her in. She has a work ethic second to none. And I just sit back and I'm like, man, gosh.
She's
So
overcome a lot. Come a
people
long
need to
way.
hear that. People need to hear
Well,
that.
yeah. there's a life after and a success after a loss to suicide. We have the selfish part about what we talk about is we have our lives and we
Yeah.
have to live them, even though we had this loss. And that part, I had trouble getting over that part for a while. I'm like, my brothers did what they did, but gosh darn it, I still got time left on this planet. What am I going to do? I have to
I think
live.
when you're meeting, not, and I know you don't want to talk about your experience necessarily. I think you do. I would have felt better if I knew somebody was going through what I was going through. A lot of it because the shame that I felt. So I would feel like I'm not alone. Other people have
Yeah.
dealt with this. But I think it's important for people to know that it is tough. But I feel like it makes you, it shapes who you are, and not always terribly,
If the grief does its work properly, you should come out a more compassionate human being on the other side. If it works properly, if you let it do its work. Now, grief could take us down other ways. Older brother Mark, I went on a bender. It took me down a path of, alcohol abuse. So it just
But those
depends
are
what.
sections of your life. Like you went
Oh,
through that
yeah.
path and then you went to the next path, so
Yeah. It
it's,
doesn't
it's,
define you.
that's right. It's not going to define you. And that doesn't mean just because you were this person when you were 30 years old that you're going to be that person at 60 years old. You know what I mean? There's a lot of living going on between that time and learning.
That's my pastor said this one time. He said, I love this line. He said, I know for a fact my wife was with 7 different men while we were married, and I've been every one of them, which
It's
is
like,
right.
where's this going? That
The whole
is
congregation was,
crazy.
but as you
Yeah.
change, different the
Yeah.
drinking
Yeah.
dentist, the now committed dentist, the salesman dentist, now the suicide prevention dentist, they're all different,
Hmm.
and defined by work and how my attitudes too. So it's crazy how that works. But this
It's
is,
like a weird blessing. Not that you want to say it's a blessing. It's strange to say, but I've said this many times. I'm not sure who I would be if that had not happened to me.
and it's back to we have our life to live. And this summer, for the first time ever, I'm going to Ireland, and I should have been there years ago. All 4 of my grandparents came over from Ireland, and I'd never been. And the reason I'm going is about 6 years ago, I wrote it on a scratch pad. It's on my door. I'm pointing to the door. I lost a dear friend to cancer, and I have his service bulletin up there from the church. And right below it, I put a sticky pad. I said Ireland on it. I have to go because this poor guy died uh, way before he had his chance to do some of the stuff he wanted to do, retire and all that good stuff. So I'm looking at it right now, and my dear friend Daniel Stearns motivated me to get off my butt and go somewhere and live because we have our lives to live. And I'm going August 13th. I'm going to Ireland.
That's why I miss this podcast, because I need to be reminded. It helps us, folks.
Yeah, oh
At
yeah.
least me. I need to be reminded of when things happened. Dennis knows I got irritated about something. He was a good friend to me. I was so glad to see his smiling face. So we got to have lunch. We never get to do that. And I guess sometimes you got to put things in perspective. Like in the grand scheme of things, I'm
Yeah.
not going to say the words, but F it, like
No, no.
whatever.
If you suffered a terrible loss, no matter what it is, and it's going to happen. It's called life. Every now and then it rocks you to the core and it says, you know what? Stop putting this off.
Yes.
You've talked about this for years. Go, go. So I just plopped it down. I made a reservation, everything. We're in. It's happening. And it's a go time. And it's funny because back to Ireland trip, someone's trying to reach out to me on Facebook. An aunt found out that I was going to Ireland, and they live over there. I have living relatives named Gillan over in Ireland, and she sent me something on Facebook Messenger. I did not respond because I don't go on Facebook. I can't
Mental
get in.
health alert. Mental health
There it
alert.
is. I hate it. There's one account.
Especially nowadays.
I have 2 accounts on there. One I can't get in because I lost my 2-factor authentication. That's ADD boy. I got that. That's my fault. But I can't get back in. Facebook has horrible customer service, so I created another account so I could do It's a Tough Subject. The podcast has a page. My loss meeting, that has a page. And the Camo Hat Club has a page. That's when I go on there just to put stuff on there for that, and I get off there. I have watched friends break up, like they went to high school together, they dated. I see them like stop being friends on Facebook because of politics. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. I
God.
gotta get.
Oh,
So
God.
I got off there. I am now on LinkedIn a little bit for professional, trying to get gigs. But the 2 things I'm on now, Instagram, because that little algorithm sends me great stuff. Happy stories about CBS, Sunday morning stories. Uh,
Mhm.
David Begnaud has great stories. I watch his stuff, all these happy stories. And then it's sober motivation, all this good stuff. People turning their lives around. That's what I watch. And that's the algorithm. I'm on that and I'm on Substack. And Substack, I just take old blogs and new blogs and I put it up there. I just put it up there and it's really kind of cool. So that's if anyone's trying to get a hold of me, Instagram
Just
at
call
Dennis
his
Gill.
daggone phone or send an email.
Send me an email. Go to
I don't even know what a
halfasara.org.
Substack is.
Substack, it's kind of like where a lot of good journalists fled because journalism's dead to put their content on there. And I started going over there and reading some really good articles. Jonathan Haidt's on there, Haidt. He did he really takes apart social media. I started reading his blog per se, and it's where a lot of people went to go post their content and eventually get paid for it. I post every now and then. I think I have 3 followers, but I just go to read stuff and then get stuff off my chest and put it out there.
Okay. I'm I am on Facebook and LinkedIn some, but I can't commit to anything else because I am a watcher of reels, and I can't even tell you how often my favorite are animals doing stupid stuff and people doing stupid stuff.
Oh, the algorithm. I go on there to post something for this podcast. It's a tough subject. I go on there to post something, and I end up a reel pops up, and I'm watching some guy cut a lawn of some house in Ohio, and I'm like, 6, 7 minutes go by. I watched the whole damn thing.
Is that the
I
guy
don't
that
have.
does it for people that
Oh,
are
he's the
like sick and can't get out of their home and he just
greatest
shows
guy on the
up?
planet,
Oh my
Spencer.
God,
Spence. Oh, I can
love,
watch it. I could.
love.
I'm retiring. I'm just gonna watch every one of that kid's videos, but not now. I'm too busy now. I don't have 6 or 7 minutes to piss away watching a guy do a chore that I hated as a kid. I hated cutting lawns, and now I'm watching a guy cut lawn. I'm like, what am I doing? I hated it when I was 13, and now I'm watching a guy do it for 13 minutes. I got to
It's not
stop.
the law. It's the people's face at the end
Oh,
just
it's
the
when the old lady's there and they
appreciation.
start
Yeah.
crying, and then I start crying. It's a hot mess.
Oh God.
It's
Yeah.
always good when the person's there. A lot of the time they're abandoned houses, but most times the person's there, and again back to the feel good.
Yes.
That's social media doing good for my head. Like, oh, I get off oh, that guy's a good dude. I should send him money tomorrow. No, I run a small nonprofit. Send me money, Spence. Do my lawn. But that's where I am. Instagram, and I do have Half a Sorrow has an Instagram page. Dennis Gillan has an Instagram page. Count My Hot Club is an Instagram page, and then Substack. And that's it. And I'm
Mm-mm.
not adding TikTok and all that other crap.
I tried it. I wanted to get into TikTok for the cleaning videos. I know it's
Uh,
weird. It's
Cleaning and
so
organizing.
satisfying. Yes, yes. And then I was going down the rabbit hole and I was like, nope, nope, got to get away.
Oh, the reason I don't have it, and I'm on there's a TikTok Dennis Gill, but I haven't been on there forever. But I started getting sucked into it.
Yeah.
It works. That algorithm works. I'm like, hey, look at this one. Look at this one. No, no, no.
And then you either get, sometimes I get sad, I get mad, and I'm like, this is controlling my emotions. That's scary. So time to step away for a little while because if I'm having a normal day and I do this and all of a sudden I'm getting angry or down in the dumps or I'm like, no, you're choosing that. It's not being forced upon you. But it's addictive. It just
China.
is.
We just learned that China wants to have more babies. This was in the news literally today.
I saw that.
They are banning those chat girlfriends, like chat AI. There's a thing called it's character AI. You can make a girlfriend,
Bless, God
and people are
bless.
so invested
Weird
in that.
Science. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, weird science. It's terrible, but they don't know how to interact with real humans. The minute you ask a girl to dance and she says no, the character AI always says yes because they want to please you. You go to a high school dance or something. Hey, you want to dance? She goes no, and it's happened. You got to
Wasn't
regroup.
China though? Weren't they? Didn't they like limit the amount of babies you could have or something? Was that like a rumor or just
Yeah,
BS?
now they have a declining population, and they're like, everyone, you can't control that. You can't go, everyone stop boinking. Okay, everybody start boinking.
Yeah,
You don't have that control.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not getting political, but
No, 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 no,
it's
no.
that
I
type
know.
of country
No,
where they
it's
can tell you
control.
things. Yeah,
Well, they think
yeah.
they can, but the will of the people always comes through. Almost got you all fired up. Now you're going to go on Facebook and start posting.
No, I'm not. You know what? I told my husband today, I was like, oh my gosh, if I wasn't a business owner, if I was retired, I'd be doing, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Because it makes you, when you start going off on stuff, honestly, it makes you look unhinged and sad,
Yeah.
really. So I'm like, eh,
Well, during the break, we went over what I'm doing with lost teams, the
yes.
local outreach of survivors of suicide. We're doing
In
that.
Pickens County, South Carolina.
That's right. That's where we're starting. But one day we're going to go from all the way from Pickens to the coast. The state will be covered, and then I'll retire. All right. That's a good goal. Now, you're in business for yourself now.
Yes.
We're more through this transition in season 3 and 4. You're a full-time now consultant?
Yes, I am
Business?
a full-time consultant and a executive director of the Public Health Association for our state.
Nice.
Yeah. I
What
love
kind of
that part. I love that part because I'm getting to do new things, and I also going back to my dad. I do think a lot. I'm like, man, Dad would be, because if somebody died that long ago, think about the way the world looked back then. Think about the way the last time they saw you, who you were.
Oof.
And I always think about that. I'm like, wow, if Dad were here now, I mean, what has changed from, the way our community looks, where he grew up, to, like I was telling you about my sister, my brother, myself.
Yeah.
And I would never have thought that I would be here. I still do struggle with a little bit of imposter syndrome. Not a lot, but here recently, yeah.
Well, you alluded to that in previous episodes, and who better than you, right, to be there? Who better after all the
Yeah,
stuff you've been
yeah.
through? And
But I will say I got care. I did get care, to your point. Our family normalized even in the 90s therapy because my dad was mentally ill, and
yeah,
I knew that, and he had substance issues, and they worked for a treatment organization, and we were in therapy a lot, which I thought was weird back then, but I did get care afterwards. I think that made a big difference, to your point. I like to believe. I did have a lot of bad times, but
well, you could be in the greatest therapeutic care and still have bad times.
hmm
There's no guarantees in this thing called life, and there probably is a guarantee in life that you are going to have good times and you're going to have bad times. That's
yeah,
pretty.
yeah.
It's called life. It comes at you hard. Good times, bad times. Um, there a little bit of imposter syndrome on my part. I'm in such a good place right now. Like, I'm working towards something I believe in. Uh, my wife is awesome. The house is tiny but awesome. The cars are running, stuff like everything's
Bills are
good.
paid.
Everything's good right now. Oh, can I tell you a God story?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I go down. Pickens County is the next county over for the folks listening, and I'm starting the lost teams there, and we're going to do them throughout the state. I'm going to talk about it. I still do public speaking. I'm traveling. I just signed up the Baltimore Orioles, the baseball team. I'm going to go speak to the organization. So we're still
Did you
doing
just say
that.
the Baltimore Oreos?
Orioles, yeah.
Not the
The
Orioles?
Orioles, the bird.
You
That's a
said
Southern New Yorker.
Oreo. You said
Orioles.
Oreos.
All right.
Yeah.
Orioles.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm
You know
those
what I
that are
meant. The
listening.
bird.
You heard Oreo.
Orioles.
Anyway.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Orioles. Orioles. Whatever. It's my accent. But I'm still doing that. Now I lost my total train of thought.
I'm
But we're in a
sorry.
good place. So I'm down there talking to Pickens chaplains. They ride around with the police officers for the sheriff's department. They got a bunch of chaplains that ride around. They go on scene and help out too. It's really cool. So I'm driving back and I'm beating myself up because, I'm like, Dennis, you did this lost team. It's up and running. You've incurred some expenses and you have no way to pay for it. You have a foundation. People do donate, but like, you know what? You really didn't think this through. You put the cart before the horse, blah, blah, blah. I get back to my office. The phone rings. It's this group that has a golf outing for a guy they lost to suicide. And they say, we saw you on the news And Mr. Gillan, we'd like to make you this year's benefactor of the golf outing." I'm like, "What?" I started crying in my office. I just started
Yeah.
crying. I'm like, "What, are you kidding me?" I literally was just crushing myself on the way up. Like, "You never thought it through, did you? Now you got to go out and solicit donations. You're the executive director. You should have been thinking about funding. You never thought about it." And boom, they say, and then it was Thursday, and I said, "When is the golf outing?" Knowing full well that I'm going away for the weekend. They said, "It's this Saturday." And I mapped it out. It was about an hour and a half from where I was. So I drove down, said a few words, and I drove back. I told my kids, I said, "Listen, I'm going to be gone this afternoon, but I have a really good reason. I'm leaving at 12. I'll be back around 5. See ya."
I would have
And they,
done it.
oh, totally. It was a
100%.
no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer. These people are wonderful. I got to meet the mom, the brother. They lost
Oh,
a guy. The best friend. They read a gosh darn letter from the best friend before they teed off. I'm like, wow.
oh Lord.
And they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Gillan." I'm like, oh, how do I follow that? It was unbelievable. This kid poured his soul out. It was so well written. The brother read it. It was crazy good. And I'm just like, thank you all for being, our foundation's a benefactor. Have a good time out there. And I don't even know what else I said, but I made it short because it was too good. The speech before me was way too good. And I was separating them from going out to hit the little white ball. So I said, good luck.
Now I got to get back home or back to my vacation.
No, I watched them all go out and I said, thank you. And I high-fived a couple as they went out. And then I said goodbye to the mom and brother and took off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a godsend. Really was. And that's, if you want to help out the cause, you go to halfasorrow.org and it helps promote, this podcast is in that, no funding mix that I never think about. This podcast, the
Things we
help.
do without thinking about it. So before we go though, so what can folks expect this season from us? What do you think? What's
I
our
think we need
goals?
to. We're looking for guests. We're looking for guests. We want to bring people on. We for 4 or 5 seasons now, the 5th season, we've really hammered home our story. I think we can expand our realm. Remember, we were brought on a couple folks last year. I think we need to more consistently line up guests that have walked a path similar or different than ours. It doesn't matter. No one walked the same path twice. Uh, I think we need to do that. If somebody knows Andrew McCarthy, if he's a good friend of yours, tell him to call me. He did a book about needing friends, loneliness. Anything is in our wheelhouse. Yes, it's a tough subject. Yes, we lost somebody to suicide, but it doesn't have to be suicide related. It could be grief related and how you rebounded.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves a good comeback
Comeback.
story. Yeah.
We're comeback stories.
One
That's
of
why
our
we do
favorite,
this.
yeah, one of our favorite episodes was when we had our producer Tim on.
I know.
That was a crazy good episode. Probably got the most listens because he's a popular dude. And
And he has a great voice, like
my
Dennis.
gosh, oh
I'm the
gosh,
dud here.
my gosh, he's got a voice. He's got a voice and
He's
a
got a
voice and a
voice
face,
that makes the angels sing.
a voice and a face made for radio. No, no, it was a good looking. That was a great episode, and that was the one. That we need more of that. So send me a note, Dennis at halfasorrow.org. Say, hey, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. I want to be on. And we'll screen you, we'll vet you, and we'll set it up. We've had a lot of good guests in the past, and I think we need to really put our efforts towards that, if you don't mind.
Well, I also think if you have something that is a subject, around this that you want us to kind of explore and talk about, I mean, I'd be open to that too.
It's a tough subject. It's a very wide
is.
open. It's a wide
Yes,
open lane.
it is. It is.
It
It
lends
is.
itself to many a tough subject.
Yes. And I just want to say before we go, you were talking about Pickens County. I want to brag on that community. That is a community in South Carolina. And there are always those places. Dennis and I were there. I was doing my day job. He was doing his day job, which is working in the behavioral health field. You heard, I do some work around that in public health. But this community, just hearing what you said about their coroner jumping in, that's exactly how that entire community is. These folks had very high suicide levels. They had experienced a lot of overdose deaths there. And they rallied and have rallied and are rallying to address this and work together to do it. And it's such a a golden star in South Carolina. I've been there working for 3 years, and it just solidified it for me when you told me that they're the one that raised their hand and said, we want to do this. So shout
Yeah.
out to Pickens County.
Pickens County, South Carolina. And there's a lot of counties throughout the United States that are doing wonderful things. Coalitions all over the place. I was in Wood County, Ohio, and I spoke, and all the people that were tabling around that where I spoke were phenomenal people. There's people, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We're not, yes, our government needs the help, but we can't rely on them, obviously. Uh, we need to step up into the void, and a lot of nonprofits have done that. A lot of state agencies, local agencies have done it, not at the
Mm,
federal level, local, boiled down to like the community. I spoke
mhm,
one year to the Delaware County in Pennsylvania. There's so many of these coalitions out there that are doing wonderful things, trying to connect the dots and help their communities because you know what? They care.
yeah.
They really give a rat's for rand, people. If you push them to the limit, they go, "Hold on, not here." So you mentioned it, overdose deaths by suicide, anything that's wrong with the community, people will often step in and say, "All right, this has gotta stop." And it's usually, like us, it's usually somebody that's been impacted.
100%.
And they go, "All right, that sucked, and I never want anyone else to go through that, so let's rally."
I
So on
can't
that
go
note,
through it in vain.
well, it's what we're doing, and with this
That's right.
podcast, we lost 3 people between us to suicide, dear loved ones, and countless others that have gone dark, but we're going to try to change that with It's a Tough Subject. This podcast is now season 5. If you want to be a guest, reach out, Dennis at halfasorrow.org. If you want to donate your entire 401k, go to halfasorrow.org and we'll take it. That's a joke. You're looking at me like,
Not really. Not
not
really.
really. Half your 401k. You make it a
I'll give
201.
you all $10.
That's it.
Make
Well,
that 5.
or give us your time. That's volunteers are always needed and welcome. And or just give us your
Yeah.
story. Be a guest
Yeah.
and give us your perspective. We'll take it because it takes a village, and I am the village idiot. Wait, that didn't come out right. But you know what I mean. You know what I meant. I'm the uniter. It's a tough subject. I'm Dennis Gillan. Jessica Seal, you want to wrap it up? You want to bring it home?
Sure.
All right. Sing the Star Spangled Banner
No, I'm
now.
not going to
That'll
do
do
that.
that.
No. I will
Classic.
say that I cried at the Star Spangled Banner. There's a person that sings. I don't know if we can say somebody's name on this. It is best one I've ever heard. So yes, 250. God bless America, and thank you guys.
All right. There you go. Bring it home. It's a tough subject. I'm Dennis Gill, and that's Jessica Seal. Thank you for listening. Season 5 is underway.